She called him Daddy again this morning. Frank didn't flinch. He just tucked the blanket around her legs and said, "You're safe now, sweetheart." It wasn't new, but it still cut a little. Lily had once been sharp, bright, witty, a little mischievous. She could light up a room and throw a playful jab in the same breath. She was his Lily. Now she slips in and out of other versions of herself. Sometimes she thinks she's a teenager again. Sometimes she doesn't know who he is. That's the grief no one talks about, missing someone who's still right beside you. He stopped correcting her. It only makes her uneasy. So now, when she asks if her dad is coming, he nods and says, "Maybe later." Then he helps her dress, gently hums their wedding song, and starts the day. No big speeches, no music swells, just toast cut into triangles, just staying, even when it hurts, even when she forgets. Frank keeps a photo of Lily on the nightstand. Not their wedding photo. It's one from a road trip. She's sitting on the hood of their car, wind in her hair, holding a gas station hot dog like it's a delicacy. That's the Lily he remembers best. "She's still here," he says, "just not all the time." And when she is, when her eyes land on his and stay, or when she hums a song from years ago, he grabs hold of it like a lifeline. But those moments are rare now. It started with little things, lost keys, repeated questions. Then came the diagnosis, Alzheimer's. A slow unraveling of memory and self. The doctors explained how it works. Starts in the memory center of the brain and spreads. Words, recognition, judgment, all fade. Still, Frank sets 2 plates at the table. Still walks with her around the block. Still hums their favorite tune. Because she's here. Not as she was, but still herself, in flashes. And for Frank, those flashes are enough. The house used to be noisy. Lily filled it with stories, questions, half-sung songs. Now, it's mostly quiet. She wanders from room to room, like she's looking for something, but doesn't know what. One morning, she stood in front of the hall closet for 10 minutes. When Frank asked what she was doing, she said, "I think the children are hiding." They never hid there. But he didn't correct her, not anymore. Sometimes she wakes up in a panic, thinking she's late for school or work. Sometimes she sees Frank and thinks he's a stranger. One night, she called 911, didn't recognize him. He had to show the police their wedding photo. This kind of grief doesn't come with funerals or sympathy cards. It's called an ambiguous loss, when someone's physically present but slipping away inside. Frank still talks to the photos on the wall, still folds laundry like she likes it. He misses her touch, her hand on his back, her head on his shoulder. Now, she flinches sometimes. Other times, she leans in like a child. He still whispers, "I'm here." Because echoes or not, he stays. Frank follows a rhythm now, not for himself, but for Lily. Routine brings her peace when memory cannot. He's up early, meds at 7, then dressing, soft fabrics, no buttons. Breakfast is always oatmeal with banana slices. Anything else confuses her. After breakfast, music, Ella Fitzgerald, Nat King Cole. Old songs from her childhood. Even when names fade, lyrics sometimes stay. They sit on the patio when it's warm. She talks to the birds like old friends. Lunch is simple, cut into small bites. No utensils, fewer chances for frustration. Afternoons are harder. She paces. Sundowning, the doctor called it. Late day confusion. She asks about people long gone. She says, "I want to go home." He shows her photos, hands her towels to fold, anything to help her feel useful. Dinner, a bath, lotion, and quiet music. By bedtime, she's tired. So is he. He brushes her hair, reads a few lines from a book they once loved. Sometimes she listens. Sometimes she just sleeps. Every day looks the same on paper, but each one carries its own ache, its own flicker of light. Frank doesn't say it out loud, but he misses her, even when she's sitting beside him. He misses the little things. Her hand on his back while he did dishes. The way she rolled her eyes when he told the same joke twice. Now, she's quiet, sometimes distant, sometimes smiling, like she remembers something he can't see. One afternoon, she looked at him and said, "You remind me of my husband. He was kind." He just nodded. "He sounds lucky," he said. He doesn't blame her, but the loneliness is real. Caregiving is love, but it's also exhaustion. Some days, he snaps. When she repeats the same question for the 10th time, his patience slips. Then comes the guilt. He walks into the garage and cries quietly into his hands, because even when you love someone deeply, it's hard to give endlessly. But he stays, because he knows. This is what love looks like now. No longer shared equally, but no less real. Words used to flow between them. Inside jokes, love notes, little teases in passing. Now she struggles to finish a sentence. Often she trails off, looks at him, unsure if the thought was ever hers. So Frank listens differently. He watches for tension in her hands, hears it in her breath, knows a flicker in her eyes means she's afraid. He doesn't ask, "What's wrong?" He just reaches for her hand, lets the silence stay soft. Touch has become their language. He rubs lotion into her palms each night, hums their wedding song while brushing her hair, plays music she used to love. Even science shows music and touch remain when memory fades. And sometimes, when he sings, she hums the next note. She doesn't say, "I love you" anymore, but he sees it. In how she leans in, how she rests her hand on his chest for no reason at all. He speaks to her with steadiness, with warmth, with presence. There's no finish line in this, no moment where Frank gets to say, "I've done enough." Every day, he shows up. Not because it's easy, because it matters. There was a day Lily fell in the bathroom. He couldn't lift her. That's when he finally called for help. He didn't want to admit he needed it. But caregiving wears you down, not all at once, but slowly in small ways. Missed sleep, decision fatigue, loneliness in a room you used to share fully. A neighbor started dropping off groceries. A niece sat with Lily for an hour so Frank could walk alone. He joined a support group online, talked less about coping and more about staying human. He stopped chasing perfection, started celebrating little wins, a quiet bath without fear, a full night's sleep, a soft laugh from her when he hums off key. This isn't the kind of strength people admire on stage. It's quieter, gentler, but no less heroic, because love like this isn't loud. It just keeps showing up. The children come and go. Maya visits most Sundays, brings baked goods, sits gently beside her mother and asks, "Do you remember when?" Sometimes Lily responds. Sometimes she just smiles politely. Sometimes she asks, "And who are you again?" Frank sees Maya swallow her sadness and change the subject. Their son, Eric, lives out of state. He calls often, means well. "Let me know if you need anything," he says. But what does Frank ask for? A full night's sleep? Time? Once, Eric visited for 3 days. By the end, he looked at Frank and said, "I didn't know it was like this." Frank just nodded. When they're there, Lily sometimes brightens. When they leave, the house is quieter than before. Frank doesn't blame them. They love her. They love him. But this version of her unsettles them. So they come. And they go. And he goes back to the rhythm. Later, he tells Lily, "Maya brought flowers." She smiles, doesn't ask who Maya is. Frank doesn't need her to. He just holds that moment and lets it be enough. Frank doesn't know when the last moment will come, the last time she says his name, the last flicker of who she was. But that's not what he holds on to. He wakes each day wondering if she'll smile when he brings her tea, if she'll hum a line from their song, if today, for a moment, she'll look at him and know. Some days she does. Some days she doesn't. But Frank shows up either way, because this isn't about being remembered. It's about remembering, not about what he receives, but what he gives. He doesn't need her to say, "I love you." He sees it in how she leans into his hand, how she rests her head on his shoulder, like it's the only place she feels safe. There's a poem she gave him long ago. He keeps it in his wallet. "I will not ask you to remember me when the forgetting comes. I will only ask that you let me love you each day as if it's the first." And that's what Frank does. Because love, real love, doesn't vanish. It adapts and it stays. If you're out there, caring for someone you love through Alzheimer's, or any illness that takes more than it gives, I see you. It's a journey that slowly drains the joy and laughter from everyday life, that asks so much of you over and over again. So this is a prayer for you. Don't lose yourself in the giving. Love yourself the way you love them, fully, patiently, gently. Rest when you can. Ask for help. Let others in. Because you matter too. Your heart matters. And you deserve care, just as much as you give it.